Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is my December wrap-up. I read 29 books in December. I DNF'd 3. 12 of them were Christmas and were in my holiday or / Christmas wrap-up. So I will be talking about 14 of them in this video. This will be in chronological order, and the very first one was Thick as Thieves by Whalen Turner. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a reread for me. This is the 5th book in the Queen's Thief series by Whalen Turner. This is a young adult fantasy series about a thief, and it is unique. There are twists and turns at the end of each and every book, and there's a lot of mythology involved in here, and it's not very tropey. It's just a very unique spin on its own kind of setup. And so we start following a thief. In the 3rd book, we meet this slave, Komet, and then this book is from that guy's point of view. So the thief is kind of the main focus of the entire series, but from books 3 on, we get other people's points of view. And so this one is from this guy. So if you have read book 3, you have met him. And it was just as good as it was the first time. It's honestly just amazing and clever, and I love it. Then I read In His Custody by Jessa, Kane. This is a smutty, over-the-top novella about a man who marries a woman just so that, and the woman knows this, so that he can get custody of her daughter when she's released from juvenile detention. Now she is 18. This guy, I think, is a police officer, maybe even the police chief, is over the top and crazy and wild and insane, would never be okay in real life, is very iffy, is kind of daddy kink, his stepdaughter, stepfather, age gap, lots of things packed into a short, smutty novella. I gave it 4 stars, but it was wild and crazy. Then I read I Think I Might Want You, which is Love Sisters number 3 by Christina C. Jones. I gave this book 4 stars. This is a series of novellas about a group of sisters, and they are really funny. This one, she travels for a blog or a vlog, something like that, or a YouTube channel, something like that. And she doesn't want a traditional happily ever after. She wants alone time. She wants to travel. And she finds happiness in a relationship that is fulfilling to her in an unconventional way, and I love that. Then I read At Peace, the Burg number 2 by Kristen Ashley. This was commented by somebody as their favorite Kristen Ashley book, and so I read it, and it was very emotional. I give it 5 stars. This focuses a lot on grief of different people. So basically, if a grief is trigger for you at all, avoid this one because there's a lot in it. But I did think it was beautiful. It's about finding happiness after loss. It's about finding happiness with somebody else when you thought you already had your happily ever after. And Joe is a security specialist, and he is a jerk. He is not nice at the beginning. There are a lot of things that you're just like, wow, okay, sir. Of course, he ends up being fantastic, and Violet is a single mother of 2 girls because her husband was murdered, and the man that murdered him is kind of obsessed with her, and she has tried to escape to the small town, and then things continue to escalate in the small town, and Joe is going to protect her and love her and her 2 teen girls. I thought that their relationship between the teen girls and Joe was really lovely and heartwarming and beautiful, and I really loved it, but it was very emotional. Then I read For Smotheathon, His Beauty by Jack Harbin. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling where the beast stays a beast the whole time. I gave this book 4 stars. It was not as smutty as I thought it would be. There are some very violent scenes, just like battle scenes, and there's some smutty scenes, but it's very true to the Beauty and the Beast storyline. So you get a lot of kind of those scenes enacted out in the book, and that was interesting. That's never actually my favorite take on it because, like, I already know that, but it was really good. Then I read Fans Only by B. Love. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a novella. It's smutty. It's friends to lovers. These friends are in a friend group, and they've been attracted to each other, but he annoys her, so she hasn't done anything about it. And they're talking about OnlyFans, fans only, I don't know, not on there, and about how you can make all this money by having sex on there, and would you do it? And she was like, I would do it. And so they decide to do it for 6 months, and no feelings, and get enough money to bankroll their dreams. And of course, they fall in love, and it's really beautiful. Also, very hot sex scenes. Then I read Lord of Mischief by Francesca Penn. This is a low-key retelling, and I gave this book 2 stars. I have read 2 other books by Francesca Penn. One was 5 stars, one was 4 stars, and then this one I did not love. It was a very realistic retelling of the Loki mythology. So if you don't know, the Loki mythology is not happy and is really brutal and not a fun time. And this was very realistic to that, and I was like, I don't want to read this. Now, the Marvel movies were referenced, and that was kind of funny. But also, Loki basically has a second chance with his reincarnated wife after screwing it up epically before. And I get that he's the god of mischief, the Lord of Mischief. I get that he's always going to be a trickster and not the greatest person and stuff. But at the same time, it's just like, you wanted to redo. Why aren't you doing anything differently this time around? Like, get your act together. So I didn't really like any of it. That was really disappointing. Then I read Taste, a Vampire Cookie by Nikki Clark. This I gave 5 stars. I loved this book. It was on my favorite novellas of 2020 list. This was just so good. So this is a black vampire who is 200 years old, and she is tired of being alone, so she can't reach completion, and it's just so frustrating. So she's like, okay, well, I will just make another vampire. That's what I'm gonna do. And then this guy shows up, and the steam and the soulmate connection and all this stuff. And then there was so much history, and there was such a unique take on vampires, and you had all of this black culture and black history and smut. And she packed so much into like 80 pages. It was great. It was awesome. It was everything I was looking for. Then I read Dream Chaser, which is Dream Team number 2 by Kristen Ashley. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a spin-off series of both the Dream Man series and the Rock Chick series by Kristen Ashley. You can read these as standalones if you want, although the characters from those series do show up in the books. So this one is basically about, all the guys are kind of on the commando team. They work for a commando, and so they are security specialists, and they do things that are not legal. And then all the girls are strippers at a strip club that has played a role in those other series, so we've seen it quite a bit. And it's Smithy's, and it's a great place to work with a very caring boss who, you know, does a fantastic job. It's a good environment. But they're all strippers, all for their own reasons, some because they love it, some because they need the money. Just depends on the stripper what her motivation is going to be and her long-term plan. This one was great. We have a girl who is honestly being taken advantage of by her family. There are some BDSM elements in this. She is a submissive, he's a dominant. And I would have liked that to have been on page a little bit more, honestly. But everything else, loved it. If you like Kristen Ashley, this is her style, this is what she writes, and it was fun. Then I read Trident's Academy, which is A Daughter of Trident number 1 by Alira Anaya Series. Darn it, I asked her how to pronounce this, now it's been a minute. This is like a merman in the water, and then humans on the land, Atlantean retelling, reverse harem, in an academy setting. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I was a little bit stressed because like she's the first female at the school and nobody wants her there. And so they're like being unfair and not giving her a chance and giving her essays instead of the actual classwork. And, you know, some of the guys are like unbelievably rude. And like she gets her wrist snapped, and I was like, oh. My husband mocks me because I'm honestly very dramatic about these things, but I was just like, ah! So, they have healing magic and stuff, so she gets healed really quickly, but still I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like, bad things are happening. It was really good. I do want to read the second book, and I actually have a slew of other books by this author that I really want to read. And I read Quark, which is like a Planet Loves book. Lovers? I can't read my own darn handwriting. by Nikki Clark. This is the author of The Taste of Vampire Quickie. This one I gave 4 stars. It was a really unique take on aliens. So the aliens are kind of black culture, even if whether they are black shades or not. And then the main character is a black woman from Chicago. And so it was very interesting, this alien culture and, you know, the racism of America and the things that she took offense to and he didn't mean anything by it and things like that. It was super interesting, really well done. The only reason why it's 4 stars instead of 5 was because there was a lot of misunderstandings. She kept having misunderstandings, and instead of talking to him about it, she would just get all worked up. He loved her for it anyways, but it did annoy me because I was like, girl, why don't you listen to what he's saying for just a minute, since we've already had 8 misunderstandings. Maybe number 9 is also a misunderstanding. Maybe you're not interpreting this right. Maybe communicate. So that slightly annoyed me. It was still a really good book. I would still really recommend that you read it if you wanted an alien romance with a black main character and black aliens. It was awesome. It was great. But yeah, lots of misunderstandings, but still a great book. Also, there's a very unique take on alien pregnancy. So if you don't want pregnancy in your books, it is in here. But what's super unique, I just have to say, this woman's mind, she just comes up with these things that are so out of the box. It's very interesting. I want to read a lot more of her paranormal books. And then I read 3 New Year's Eve novellas to finish off December. I read New Year, New Boo by Alexandria House. This is a super short book. I gave it 5 stars. This is these 2 friends and co-workers at their holiday New Year's Eve party end up hooking up and becoming a couple, and it was sweet and I loved it. Then I read A Tale of Two Cities, a New Year novella by Alexandra Warren. Alexandra Warren has a Tale of Two Cities novella for almost every holiday. I read her Halloween one. I never got to her Thanksgiving or Christmas one. Read her New Year's one, and I plan on reading her Valentine's Day one. This one was 5 stars also. So this one ends with a happy for now. All of these A Tale of Two Cities do, because it's 2 people coming from 2 different cities, so they have a long-term relationship. But you really get the sense that they're going to work it out. So she comes into town to see her boyfriend and finds out that he's cheating and ends up hooking up with her Uber driver. And it's awesome. I loved it. They were a super cute couple. Then I reread NYE by Jessica Gaziella. This is Enemies to Lovers, where this billionaire in New York City hires this party planner and just pushes all of her buttons. And she's just like, you are so micromanaging, I cannot stand you. And her assistant's like, girl, he's into you. You act so standoffish. The only time you let down your guard and get in his face is when you're mad. And that's why he's making you mad all the time. And it was awesome. It was glorious. It was 5 stars. Great reread. Loved it. That's all the books that I read in December besides the Christmas ones. So I already did that. What did you read in December? Did you have a good reading month? Mine was obviously a little bit later, and I was totally fine with that. So happy with what I read. On to January. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.